Longtime financial chief of Donald Trump's company has pleaded guilty to fraud and tax evasion charges. Alan Weisselberg had been charged with hiding millions of euros in off-the-books income and will likely be sentenced to prison time. Now, it comes amid a backdrop of legal worries for the former US president after the FBI seized classified documents from his Mar-a-Lago home. Well, joining us now is Scott Lucas, Emeritus Professor of US Politics at the University of Birmingham in the UK. Scott, great to have you with us. Donald Trump faces myriad legal issues, really, doesn't he? There's worries when it comes to his personal business, concerns about his treatment of classified data, and also his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. So, of those three thorns in his side, which thorn looks to be the thorniest, I guess?
All of them. Sorry to be a bit vague. We would need a half hour to detail all the legal charges. But here's how they intersect. First of all, the FBI raid actually opens itself up to three possible felony counts, which include prison sentences. So Trump likely violated the Presidential Records Act by taking documents without permission from the White House. But those documents were wanted as part of an investigation into the Capitol attack, which Trump is accused of inciting. And so now he faces obstruction of a government investigation charge. And then, of course, some of the documents were the top security classification that the government has, which makes him vulnerable to the Espionage Act. So you've got that one dimension. But then you mentioned the business practices. And there you have the New York State civil case, to which Trump has recently pleaded the Fifth Amendment for more than 4 hours, which is looking into fraud in his businesses. And that investigation may lead to the Manhattan District Attorney pursuing a criminal investigation of Trump's business. And of course, we know that yesterday, his chief financial officer, the man who was at his side for 40 years at the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, pleaded guilty and will be testifying at a trial involving the Trump Organization in October. And then the third dimension, you mentioned the election. Well, here's the case to watch for. Down in Georgia, Trump and his allies are accused of trying to put in what's called fake electors, fake representatives, throwing out the legally elected representatives of Joe Biden.
Well, look, if you compare it to previous presidents, I mean, people used to call Bill Clinton Teflon Bill. I think Trump has taken that to a whole other level. But nevertheless, is there the sense now, and from what you're saying, that essentially he is running out of road here, do you think?
The 21st century is an ongoing contest, which is different from Richard Nixon or Bill Clinton, because of the extent of disinformation and how fast it spreads. So it's not as much Teflon, it's throwing mud. And what Trump has done since he ran for president in 2016 is that he's thrown mud, disinformation, whether it was over his connections with Russia, whether it was over his attempt to blackmail Ukraine to get Joe Biden out of the 2020 election, whether it was over his business and practices and fraud. And this contest will continue. Donald Trump, as soon as the FBI raided his house, in fact, within minutes, was on Truth Social, his media outlet, to say this was all the deep state, it was a witch hunt, it was a plot. And so what you have is, for all the legal analysis I can give you, is this battle for hearts and minds, where Trump is trying to seize them with falsehoods and deceptions and hoping that the truth never catches up with him.